Good day everyone, GarageKing here, and today we are going to do the rear brake pads on our Nissan Pathfinder because we want to keep it on the road because buying a new vehicle is expensive and we know what happens when we go to buy a new vehicle.
This is your down payment, then here's your monthly, and there's your weekly.
And that's it, right?
Yup.
Okay, so let's take a close look at the rear brakes. So, firstly, my first tip, whenever you see like a big, I don't know what you want to call it, dish bowl part, that usually means that the park brake is on the inside, so you have shoes on the inside, which is good if you're just doing the pads because what that means is you don't have to twist the inner caliper piston in, because sometimes the brakes, the park brake can be part of the caliper, or sometimes it can be shoes inside of the disc there. So this one looks like it's the easy type, and it only has there's your brake hose right there. And what else do we see when we go around to the back? We can see we have two 14 mil bolts, one there, and we got one up there. Let's shed some light on the situation. There we go. They're quite dirty, but they're okay. So we just got two 14 mil bolts to take off. So this one's actually a pretty straightforward job. So let's get our ratchet on, 14 mil. There's top bolt coming undone, just like that. Let's undo that. Top bolt out. I think this is probably the best angle I can get you to do the bottom bolt. Now, silly me, what I did is, if you notice when we try to undo it, this gets loose. So what we do is I'm just going to put the top bolt back in, just a couple threads. It's a little trick. There we go, just to hold it. So now, there we go. Now I can undo the bottom bolt. So, just a little trick there. Now I'll take both bolts out by hand. 1, 2. And now we can take the caliper off. So here we have the pads. We can see, we can actually, here's the pins, and they're still both moving, so that's good, but we're gonna lube up the pins anyway, and then we're gonna change the pads because this inner one's getting quite thin. There's not a lot left on it. So these we can just pull them out, change them, lube up the pins, and then let's push the caliper back together. So when I say let's put the caliper back together, what I mean is let's push this piston back in. So we're just gonna give this piston a good wipe off, and then we're gonna get our tool and push it back in. Then we take our tool. So this tool has two good purposes. First, it keeps you safe. If you're using a big pair of pliers or a big C-clamp and it skips off, it can hurt you. The second thing is, it's actually really, really good for pushing the piston in perfectly straight. You can see when I ratchet here, it'll push it in straight. Let me get you a better angle here. We'll just move in here a bit. And when I ratchet it, it goes in straight. Now, the only other way you're going to be able to push your piston in perfectly straight is if your C-clamp is perfectly centered, and that's really difficult because you can see on the back of the caliper, there's a brake line attached, so you almost can never get a C-clamp perfectly straight. And obviously, if you're using a really big pair of pliers, you cannot get it straight because you're going to be pushing on one side. Very, very handy and highly recommended. I use it on pretty much all my brake jobs. Great. So now what we got to do is just pull our pads out, clean our pins, and away we go. So let's lower down. Here we go. We're just going to yank our pads out if we can by hand. That's great. There's one. We're just pulling it out. There's a shim on the inside. There, I'm trying to get you a better light. There we go. If I can. And this one is too tight, it seems. It doesn't want to come out, so we need just a tiny screwdriver. There we go. We get our screwdriver in there. There we go. There we go. There. Okay, and let's examine the rear pads. So we can see there's our squealer. So this plastic, this steel thing rubs against the disc, just rubs against it when you're driving. Don't think that's a big deal. I can erase it. I didn't actually rub it, guys. Look, there you go. It's all gone. It's all fixed. So anyway, this thing, steel thing rubs against the disc, and that's what makes your squealing. And you can see they're pretty much out. There's almost nothing left on there. So we had to do it in the new, so you can actually see the difference. So you can see there's nothing left. Nothing left. Spray our pads just so we can prevent some squealing from happening. If we got enough there, there we go. A little bit of blue. That's great. Just like so. There we go. And now we'll wait a second or two for dry and then we're gonna install them. All right, now let's replace where the pads ride. So we're just gonna pop these up first. You can see there we go. Actually, sorry about that. I know the bottom one you didn't get a good angle, but the top one you can. They're both the same, top and bottom. There we go. So I've pulled them out, just like that, making sure we're clean. And yeah, not really any rust. So that's a bargain. So now what I'm doing is I'm just gonna take them, just like so. There we go. And just gonna put a little bit of anti-seize. Just like so. And then now, what I can do is we're just gonna put it up, the new one, just like so. If we can squeeze it in there, there we go. There we go. And that one is in. Perfect. Apologize, you didn't get a good view of the bottom. There's the bottom. Same thing, we're just gonna put a little bit of anti-seize on this sucker. Just like so. There we go. And now what we're gonna do is push it in just like so. The center area you gotta watch to make sure you line it up. There you go, you can hear it getting pushed in and you just gotta make sure it's centered up. So there we go, that is in. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna clean the pins. So let's just give them a little wipe off. We're gonna twist them first and then break it free so we can go, there we go, just like this. And then we're gonna pull it out and there we go, just like that. So this one's out, we're gonna give it a little wipe off. Caliper lubricant, we're gonna put just a wee bit in here. Don't need a bunch, just a little bit. There we go. And now what we're gonna do is we are going to paint on, just like so. And you can see right there the grooves. That's where you wanna make sure you get them fully filled in. And there we go. And you can see we got some pressure there, but as soon as you hold it, usually it'll leak down. What I'm doing is I'm just turning it like this, moving it all around, just to try to get some of the grease to come from this side up there, because if you saw we had the rubber, and there you go. It's in, so it's fine. So now we're just gonna do the top one. There we go, here's the top one right here. So I'm just gonna pull this one out. There we go. So let's give it a wipe off, make sure it's nice and clean. And you always want to do the top and the bottom separate, because as you notice, the bottom had rubber on it and this top one doesn't have any rubber on it. It's just like a fluted, or whatever you want to call it, pin here. So you want to make sure that you don't get them all mixed up. So we put a little bit of grease in there on the top one, where the top pin goes. There we go. We are just going to paint the pin, if you want to call it that. We're not really painting it, we're just making sure we lubricate it well. There we go, just like so. And now we can put this one in. There we go, we'll do the same thing as we did last time. We're just gonna give it a few good wiggles. There we go, push it in both hands, and there we go. It is on. So now we're ready to put our brake pads. We have the new brake pads. So what we're gonna do is just put a little bit of anti-seize on the edge of each one here. Not the pad itself, but just the steel on which it rides on. So there we go, we're just putting a little bit on. Don't put too much, but just put enough on so they're lubricated a little bit, and it actually helps with installation and prevents rust down the road. No one wants to have rusty parts, because rusty parts are really hard to take apart. These are springs that you can see I'm pushing. So the pad actually has to be pushed in those springs. So we gotta make sure we put our brake pad in properly. So we wanna put it in there, just like so. So it goes down like that, so it's behind. So you can see there's a bit of spring in front of each of it. And then we're just gonna push it in, just like so. And you can see now it's set in, and you can see I left my thumbprint. So don't leave too many fingerprints, but anyway, that's how it goes. And sorry guys, I just can't get the pad in. You know what, the camera's in the way, so for this one I'm just gonna have to move the camera and then put it in, but basically you can see how I was doing it. Okay, so now that I got the pads in, time to just put the caliper back on. This one, there's no springs on the top or anything like that. It just goes just like this. And then what you gotta do is just squeeze the pins a bit just to make sure you can settle it. There we go, just like so. And then we put in bottom bolt here, just like so. And then the top bolt goes right in here, just like so. And actually there, you can see there's the bolts getting in. There we go, now we grab our handy dandy ratchet. Okay, and we got our 14mm socket. And if you notice, ouch, 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 ouch. That happened on another job. That actually happened working on a VW. That's what those cars give you, a little bit of headache. And there we go, all done. Time to put the tire back on. And that's it. Replace the front pads, or sorry, front pads, geez, what am I thinking? Replace rear pads on a Nissan Pathfinder. This one happens to be a 2012. Okay, so I almost forgot. Here is the tools that I use. 14mm ratchet there, 2 screwdrivers, just some anti-seize. Right here, there's your caliper lube, the tool to spread the caliper, piston back, and then a 21mm socket. So really that's all I use, so not a lot. And if we pan up there, there's my secret tool, the dust pan. Ha ha ha. This is all I really needed for this job. So really not a lot. If you like my videos, please subscribe. I would appreciate it. All comments are answered below. Thank you and have a great day.